everyone, it's Stephanie from My Porch Prints. Welcome back. Today we're going to be making this Christmas page pockets #1. And if you've used our regular page pockets, you'll know that this is a lot like the #1 from those, except that it has a Christmas theme. So to get started, I printed most of the kit on cardstock. We use 110-pound Pen+Gear brand cardstock, but you can use whatever you like, what works best with your printer or your project. And these were printed one-sided, so there's nothing on the back, but there's a couple of exceptions. And one is this one, folding panel A. It says to print on cardstock and print a printable paper design on the back. So I went ahead and just flipped it over and put it back through the printer, and I printed this pattern on the back. And then this mini notebook, I printed on regular paper. And that's because we're going to be stapling it together, and it's just easier for me to staple through paper than to staple through cardstock. So we're going to go ahead and cut these out and get started putting this together. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces cut out, and before we start assembling our page pocket, we're going to talk just briefly about some items you might need or want to use. First of all, we like to use distress ink around the edges, and what that does is just kind of hides the white edges and gives the page pocket just a vintage kind of look. And you can see these have darkened edges around them. And then we're also going to be using this corner punch, and that will give your page pockets just kind of a nice finished rounded edge. So we'll be using that. And then I'm also going to be using my CROP-A-DILE Big Bite, and I'm going to be using that to set eyelets into my tags. So if you've seen tags with like these metal eyelets, we're going to go ahead and use that. And all these things I'll have links to down in the video description. And to start with, I'm going to be using my scoreboard, and we're going to be using that to score these. Oops, I bumped the camera, sorry about that. Score these pieces. So for this one, you can see this kind of brown line, and I'm just going to put that here and score it, and that's just going to make it a little bit easier to fold. And then on this piece, you can see the brown line is offset so that this side is smaller than this side, so you want to make sure that you get it on the correct line here. And this will help us do that. There we go, and it's got a nice just scored edge there. And you can see I wrote my panel names on the back so I don't get confused about what goes where, but this kit's pretty self-explanatory, so it shouldn't be too confusing for us. All right, let's go ahead and start assembling. Okay, so if you do want to ink your edges and round your corners, now would probably be the time to do that before we start assembling, but I'm gonna skip that part just because I wanna go ahead and get to the assembly. So to start with, I'm going to be attaching, let's see, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just attach panel B right here, just like this. And what you want to do is just add some glue to the outside edge, to the top, the side, and the bottom, and try to stay as close to the edge as you can. And then just make sure this is right side up, and it goes right here in the fold. And you want to make sure it just kind of lines up and that this will fold like this. And that'll create a little pocket right here that you can slip things into. And this is panel C, and it's going to go on the back of this one here. And again, if you're inking edges for this project, oops, I think I got this a little misaligned here, my bad. But if you're inking edges, what you might want to do is turn things over and ink along this white edge of your folded piece. And that's going to hide that a little bit when you have your finished product. So you don't have like just this white line here. You can see I did it on this one. I inked along all of my edges before I put the project together. But we're going to go ahead and attach this. And if you want, you can glue just the top and the side and the bottom, and that'll create another pocket here. But I'm going to go ahead and just ink all around, or glue all around. Did I say ink? I meant glue. Because I don't need that extra pocket right now. And again, just make sure that you align things, because when you don't, you get a little bit of a gap here. That was my fault, sorry for that. Okay, so those are our panels, and we're gonna go ahead and start attaching our pockets. Now this is gonna be what I would consider the front cover, but when you put it in a journal, it actually may not, you know, look that way. So it's up to you if you're gonna use it on its own or in a journal. But either way, you can decide what you want to put here. And we've got a couple pocket options, these slanted pockets. And I went ahead and used this one on my original piece. You can see that here. And then I used the other one on the back. So I'm gonna do that again. And again, just glue down the side and the bottom and up the other side. And this will be just slightly smaller than your panel. And so you may want to offset it a little and just give it a little border so you can see there's a little bit of edge around the bottom and the sides. It's not perfectly lined up with the edges. And that gives it kind of a set-in look. And then we'll do the same on the back. And then we'll just start adding our other pockets. So the panel B pockets go here, and what we're gonna do is just offset those a little bit so that they overlap, just like that. All right, and then the chevron pockets go here. And again, we're just gonna overlap them. And you can, you know, put this one low or high, however you want it to be on the page. Okay, so now we're done assembling our page pocket. We've got our little pockets put where they go, and now you can fill it up with all the pieces from the kit. And I am not going to do that on this one because I've already done it, and I'll show you kind of what I did. But I do want to show you how to set an eyelet. I'm sure some of you have done this, but there are a lot of you who are new, and if you've never done this before, I'm going to give you a little quick tutorial. So this is the CROP-A-DILE Big Bite, and you can move this depending on whether you want to punch a hole. You can kind of see this hole puncher, a big hole, a small hole, and then this will set your eyelets. So I'm gonna move it to the big hole, the 3/6 here. And what I'm gonna do is just punch this hole out. If I can line it. And ideally it should be aligned on both sides. And then I'm gonna move this to the eyelet setter, and I'm gonna grab one of my metal eyelets here. I've got a whole little container full of them. And what I'm gonna do is just put this inside the hole, and then I'm gonna set it underneath the eyelet setter and squeeze. And I can never quite squeeze hard enough, but it sets it, and it just gives it a nice little finished look. So if you've never done that before, it's easy peasy. I highly recommend getting a CROP-A-DILE Big Bite. They're useful for a lot of things. So the final thing I'm going to be doing is putting together this notebook. And I cut the pieces out. This is the topper. And you just cut it out and fold it in half like this. And then you take your notebook pages. You can print as many as you want. And I'm just gonna line those up and put this topper on top. And then you can set some eyelets in here, but I think it's gonna interfere with this Merry and Bright. So I'm gonna go ahead and just use a stapler. And I'm gonna staple it. There we go. And now you've got, you know, a cute little notebook that you can use, and that'll go into your page pocket. So let's take a look at this kind of finished page pocket. So I've got my tags in here, and then I used a little mini Tim Holtz paper clip to hold this on. I'll try to put a link down below for those. And that's just holding this little guy here. And then I used some of the tabs that come with the kit. this is a nice little journaling spot you can tuck in here. And again, just more little paper clips and little decorations. I used some cheesecloth behind these, and I think I have a link for that down below as well. And then these are just some more of the pieces, and you can kind of see where you could put some of these page tabs. I use them as tag toppers as well. And there's a little folding card that comes with the kit. And you could make it into a notebook, fill it with little notebook papers if you wanted to. Okay, so let's take a look at how this would fit into your journal. So you could leave the back blank if you wanted to and just like glue it into your journal, or you could tie it in or sew it in like one of your signatures. And how that would work would be something kind of like this. If I can find the other side, there we go. And it would just kind of become its own little piece. And you can see how it would fit in there. Okay, so thanks for doing this project with me. I'm really excited to see what you guys make. You can share it on our Facebook group. The links are down below to join our Facebook group if you're not already a member. So thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time.